Merry Christmas, everyone, and welcome to the BunkerHouse Golf podcast.
Happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. We're here to celebrate everything. We're all inclusive around here.
We are. Yeah, welcome. We got our Christmas sweaters on. My favorite all time is Josh's because it fits perfectly.
It really does. That suits you so well.
I've been on Santa's shit list for like the last 3 years.
3 only?
That's it?
That's way more.
Santa's liquid.
Well, welcome to what we hope to, call your new home, your golf pros, your new community, a place where you can, listen to a little bit of golf, talk about golf, but a lot about learning and listening to some of our ridiculous stories that we have. But we want to share them with you because some of them are real shit stories.
We don't have any stories.
Literally.
I was there for that.
Joe, did you...
Which one?
Yeah, true.
You were probably there for the first few.
Wait, how many were there?
Oh, too many to count.
There's a couple that will be coming out. There's a few that I know. There's a few that are really popping in his mind right now. The ones that like really stuck with him.
The one at Cabot's always going to stick in my head. It's going to be the one at the front all day long.
You live with Ryan and Joe, and he has how many shit stories, and how many do you have?
I don't think I have a lot of shit stories, honestly. Just like mornings walking up, going to school, and Josh just shaking his shit, and the door's wide open. And I'm just like, all right, don't mind me. I'm just going to brush my teeth here. Take your time. Don't worry about it. And then that's about all my shit stories with Josh. I don't have any golf related ones, just living with the guy. Oh no! And then, yeah.
If you think long enough, you'll think of a shit story with Tracy.
All I'll say is no more pomegranates.
Yeah, that one I could get in trouble for.
Yeah, that one
will leave.
Yeah, that one will not come arise. But yeah.
So what is BunkerHouse Golf? Who are we? Where are we going with this? I don't even like you. The guy I'm sitting beside, I deal with him, but I don't really like him that much. Golf well, though. Fuck. If you ever play well. Yeah.
Does he, though?
If you can quiet the hands down just a touch.
You know what? That's something I got to work on this winter, all right? But I really don't like you either. I don't like myself. And Joe, good to see you too.
And so Joe.
Yeah. Well,
Guys.
Joe the pro, and myself grew up together, playing golf together.
Did.
Got all the way to college together. I came in your second year, and then we stumbled upon this guy. And
I came in your second year.
yeah,
Well, it's actually kind of funny because then I
Wait, you
came in
came
Josh's
what?
second year.
we were just kind of like 1 year after another coming into Holland College in straight up, like in sequential order. It's Joe, me, like year to year, and we all end up just either living with each other at some point, or just crossing paths with each other in times that we don't really want to. Or yeah. Like the first time I met you was we were at a party.
UPEI party and the flower bed.
Was it yet? The flower.
I totally forgot about that. None of the guys at college even knew who I was yet.
No, we were
in
at
the
the
first week.
we were at the Wave.
Oh, the
Wave.
wave. Classic.
So it was a beach party. It was a beach theme.
That's hilarious. They have it. They had it every year. They
yeah, they
literally
still do.
They probably. You know what? We should probably head back for it. Just might as well.
The return to the wave.
Yeah, coming to your theater shortly.
Just a bunch of old men showing up to this university party.
Yeah.
Old men.
We
I'm an old man. Maybe
Yeah,
not you
you're
guys.
an old man. But
So we go out. So that's where we met. We met at the party, and then we all went to the wave. And I didn't have many friends around, like at that specific like where I was going. Is I only met those guys like 2 weeks prior, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll come out. And I like, we're at Hong College, like we're over in PEI, and it's like there's something going on at the wave. It's or like at UPI. It's I can't. Like, that sounds amazing, but unless I have the right crew I'm going with, and I just got like an invite, and I was like, oh man, I was like, that sounds like a good time. The boys were living across the street from there, which is only just down the road from Hong College, and then you, basically the story that I remember is that
Keep it PG as much as you can.
you're just in a bush, and I'll let you run it from there.
What were you doing in that bush, Grace?
you just
You were
opened a-
taking a shit?
Surprisingly, no. Surprisingly, no, as you would have thought that would have been. Yeah, no, the boys were walking by and I was just shagging. And I just looked over.
like out front
Fellas. That was in, that was like their opening week at UPI or whatever. First week at school, first couple weeks at school, it was like no one really knew who I was or what I was about. And that's not what I was about. But it was a good night.
It's exactly what you were about the entire time. Yeah, like from that moment forward, I woke up the next morning and I was like, I met an interesting man last night. Like, he seemed like a nice guy, but he was shagging in a bush in front of the fucking university. And I was like, who does that?
I want to get to know this guy.
I wonder how he plays golf.
yeah, I wonder what his golf game's like right there. Out of the bush, key. Gotta work on that bush game at all times.
And that's where a lot of us really connected. We all came from kind of the Holland College background. I mean, you and I, we grew up together. You were pretty much, unfortunately, like the brother that I never had.
You're just gonna slide in, unfortunately.
Wow.
It is unfortunate.
I was about to cry, and then you added the unfortunately.
Yeah, like I was like, wow, that's the nicest thing. That made my Christmas.
But that's the thing about like a younger brother. You kind of can go at each other like that.
Oh
Yeah, and then we were there, met Josh. I never met you until we ended up working together. But you at the time were living with him.
Well, not even. Like I came in, like you would have been graduated. I came in Josh's second year, and I didn't even meet Josh. I don't think it was until the second semester when it might have been late first semester when we
It was
met.
late. It definitely was late.
Yeah, I don't even remember actually how we like ended up meeting. Really.
Super weird. You were living with a chef.
Yeah, it was
Good
with
friend of
Mike.
ours now. And I wanted to fight Mike.
Yes,
Was that Mike Hochschild?
Mikey Hochschild.
Mike, shout out. I haven't
Actually,
seen you in a
shout
minute.
out to in-house house
In-house,
whatever it
in-house
is.
cooking.
Private chef in Ontario. Unreal
Chef's
guy.
kiss.
Top notch guy. Mike, if you're listening in, love you, buddy.
Yeah, great. Well, I had an old roommate, Emerson, and he lit his room on fire in res one night. It was a party, and a fire caught in the kitchen. Emerson smoked like the cake box off, and it landed on the couch, and the couch started burning a bit. And the fire truck showed up to Glendenning Hall. It was all fucked up.
Glendenning Hall.
Mike,
What a
Mike
fucking
came out
place.
just
Oh
like
my God.
firing, like fucking you, and I was like, "The fuck you gonna do?" And then we and him started like getting into it, and then it was just like I never seen the guy really like again for a bit, and it was just kind of like beef there a little bit, and then.
Well, if this was if you would have met Mike in your first year then.
Yes, that was first year.
Because I only met Mike in my first year, which would be your second year. And Mike actually was living somewhere else with other guys, and then it wasn't working out. And the guy that was living with me moved out in like the first month of meeting me.
Oh, so the actual story of you guys getting to live together is like wild. I thought you guys all just like signed a place
No, like
together.
I
and
didn't live with Josh until my second year.
Yeah.
Like I was living on res at the old Glendenning Hall, and
Classic.
yeah,
No, but
classic.
oftentimes you like have a roommate and you'll just like stick with that person. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
yeah,
if you-
like-
So how did you guys end up living together?
Well, like, so basically I ended up living on, and I met like a good group of boys that I was kind of getting tight with and stuff. And then all of a sudden, I don't even like,
don't know how I came in there. I don't know if you invited.
I think I invited.
You invited me
I
'cause
think
he was
I.
a golf program.
Yeah, so I think I met you
And the rest of
through like the program,
Exactly.
like, and
the
then
rest of the guys were like sport management guys and
yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah,
And
they
he
all
met
played
me
on the
through
ball team.
Yeah, he met me through the program, and then
I think I just invited you over to
you're
some
like, "Yo,
party.
You should come party some night. And I went and I showed up. I remember the first guy. He was
You're like, pull my rubber arm.
I
Fuck,
was
yeah,
like,
sure.
I love the party. So we showed up, and then I was like, I remember like seeing Mike, and I was like, "What's up?" He was just like, "What's going on?" And it was just like, "Oh." We ended up partying, became one of my best buddies that night. We were like, yeah, literally, we all just became, and there was like a group of like 8 of us, like HCFB for real. Which,
Yeah, don't look it up, but
no, definitely look it up, but that stayed there, and we still keep in touch with all of them.
yeah, like we literally still have a group chat follow. But basically, went through the first year where I lived on res with Mike, and then Josh was gonna move to Cape Breton to work at Cabot, and this was before. You know, you were in Cabot. Were you at Cabot at this time?
Yeah.
I met Josh. Like I heard of Gracie through you, but
And he heard of me through him as well. Yeah.
So then the first time I actually met Gracie was when Eddie, your father, was actually showing me around, and he was getting Josh into his room. He's like, "Oh yeah, like you know him." And I was like, "No, I don't." He's like, "Yeah, like he's really good buddy with Neil."
And that's exactly Eddie's right there. He's like, "Yeah, look at this Joe," and I was like, "What's up,
Yeah,
Joe?"
it was so awkward at first. It was like Eddie was like, "Oh yeah, like you guys are like best friends," like thinking we already knew each other, but we never met each other before.
So you guys shook hands. You're like, so we're best
Not
friends
even,
now.
like I can always remember. It was like I was like, "Hey," I think Grace was like, "Hey," like it was like it was so like downplayed. Like it was so like. I was like, "Oh, hey!" It was just like,
But like, and that's the other funniest thing about it was like, because I was living in Shetty Camp at the time back home, and I never.
Rob was.
And
caddying.
Rob, yeah, my dad knew you before I even met you, because dad would caddy in the summertime.
Yeah, I knew Ryan's dad before I knew Rob.
Yeah, but it's also so funny because I came up a few times to see Josh because I was literally like a half hour away, and I still never met you that summer that I was there.
Meanwhile, at this point, my mom is subbing for your mother.
I'll throw that in.
It's wild.
my-
This whole scenario about all of us is wild.
My mother's a retired school teacher. Your mother's a school teacher. Goes down, live in the same place. Mom's like, "Oh, sub in every now and again." Whose class did you sub for?
At this point we did know each other because your mom put it together eventually. Because this is moving way ahead. This isn't even the same summer that Josh. This isn't the same summer.
We're gonna do one of those wraparound stories.
Well, no, it's just like because then that summer, that's how then me and Josh ended up moving in together. Because going into that my second year, Josh's third year, and then that's when we got a house together. And then obviously the chronicles of, oh god, that house.
Did you guys say you had a name for your house?
Yeah,
Don't repeat it.
Club 136.
Club 136. It had mold and mushrooms growing in the basement, and
No.
we had one roommate that literally just lived in the basement and just no door.
Breathing it in.
Yeah,
That's there's like black mold. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like, you haven't said anything. He's like, yeah, it started to stink. So like, do you think I could come upstairs?
and then that's it. He moves in. No, he doesn't. He moves into the room with this guy.
Into my room. I come up, he like moves in. He puts like his bed beside my bed. Cause I had the biggest room, so he puts like his bed beside my room, thinking that we're just gonna like keep it for like, I don't know, like a couple weeks till the plumber comes and fixes it.
Nah.
It stays like the rest of the year.
I don't think it was until like the last 2 months of it. You're like, all right, Josiah, you're back to the basement.
Yeah, I'm like, just get the fuck out of here. He's like, no, seriously, he's like, I actually can't go back down there and live there. I'm like, no, you gotta go live there, dude. You shit on my floor.
I can't keep
And then-
keep using bushes.
But like that was the
Who takes the mushroom basement?
and like
Rock, paper, scissors, huh? On 3.
But yeah, that's how I got to know. That's how I got to know Josh really well. And then I made the decision that I was going to move to Halifax after I graduated and start working at Brunello. And then that's when Josh was like, "Hey, I have a buddy that is working at Brunello. You should his name's Neil. Like blah 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 blah. You should get to know him." I was like, all right, bet. And you're like, oh, he's a good guy. You'll fit in right away. And I was like, all right, I'll take it for sure. No way. Like if Josh says he's a good guy, then obviously he's gonna be a good guy. And then yeah, so I moved over to Halifax and moved into my ex girlfriend's apartment. I was subletting from her, and I was subletting from her. And then this was a few months on getting to know Neil, and then eventually ended up moving in with Neil, and then from there it was just.
Then Neil introduced you and I.
Yeah, and then Joe came up a few times to have some. I think you just literally came. I think.
Well, I was thinking because
No,
I
we
got
were-
offered a job.
Yeah, no.
Like-
So I sort of cut you off, Joey, but
That's okay.
you called me that day. We're not going to get fully into that story, that's another time, but you called me down to come down and caddy, and I was like, absolutely not, man. I'm hungover as hell. There's no way I'm coming down. And you're like, no, this guy needs a guy. Da, 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 da. So I come down to caddy. Next thing you know, this guy hires me like on the spot to come work for him in Toronto. And me, like, I'm like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. And I was just like, by the end of it, I'm having beers with the guy on the front deck at, like, the patio. And I'm like, wow. I look over at Joe, I was like, I think I'm moving to Toronto. And he's like, what? I was like, no, straight up, I think I just took a job in Toronto. Next thing you know, this guy flies me out to Toronto, like, a month later to check out where I'm working and this and that. And then I go back home and basically pack my shit and leave like the next month. And I'm like, Joe's like, oh, I was like, yeah. Like, we talked about moving to Halifax together to get out of Cape Breton. And then he just like, was like, I pieced out and went to Toronto. So, and then, yeah, you guys got in touch.
Well, yeah, because
you guys so well.
like that first summer at Brunello, Joe wasn't there yet.
No.
But I think there's a few times you just came up. I think just to either play
Just to
golf or
hang out
hang
or
out or whatever.
something,
Because obviously you want to get out of Cape Breton. Because
I think it was for golf tournaments actually.
He was probably coming up to stay with us to play in our either two-mans or just come up and practice.
he comes to see Neil and then he meets me, and obviously I was probably just an absolute degenerate.
Just a liability.
Yeah, an absolute liability.
When we did meet each other, though, it was like you just walked in the shop and you're like, what's up? And I just didn't know who you were. I was like, yeah, you're new. And I'm like, I've been already there for a year, so I'm like, who's this guy? And you're just like, you Neil? I'm standing behind the desk. I'm like, yeah? You're like, I know your buddy Josh.
You're like, who's asking?
You're like, I'm not quite sure. Like, I'm like this guy kind of seems sketchy.
I really don't think I come off as sketchy. I think I come off as what? What do you mean? I come off as sketchy? Really? I feel like I'm just like
Not
I think you
anymore.
look at me and you're like, that guy goes to church, and like that's what I think you get
Well,
out of it.
now I look at you and it's like, this guy eats a cow and goes to the gym and lifts heavy stuff.
Yeah, I guess I was kind of a stick back then. I was just I was tall and lanky.
Yeah, because you were so fat and short when you were younger.
We don't gotta get into
Yeah,
that.
come on, that's harsh, man. Come on.
If we could,
Ryan had the biggest glow up of all glow ups.
But then-
Can we pull up a clip of his driver's license right now?
I mean, no, because well, that's another story for another time, but I sadly lost that license. No, it was when someone broke into my car. That's when it was. They stole my wallet, and I wasn't even upset about the fact I lost my MacBook. It was the fact that I lost that license, because that thing was just
The
like,
thing was legendary.
that was a talking piece. You just
Oh,
brought
yeah.
that out, and everybody's like, nah, that's not you, man. And
No,
I'm like,
you're not
yeah,
16.
I bet it is, buddy.
Like, you're not 16
No, I
in
was-
the picture.
no.
You are 12.
your face is round. Like it's not like it actually. It's like an egg, but it's sideways.
No, and he actually looks like he's 12 or 13. Like, he looks so young.
It's still just some baby fat. You're 17. Yeah, I know.
And now he's just jacked.
Yeah, no, I started working at Brunello, and then at this time, Josh is at Toronto, so he's kind of pieced out and left us for a bit. I still got every single snap, and I was questioning if he would be coming back from Toronto alive, but
Actually, a part of you died there.
no, definitely.
Part of me stayed.
No, he didn't die there. There's a part of Josh left in Toronto. Is
Yes.
what it is. That's the
He left
difference.
his mark in
Yeah.
Toronto.
I didn't know it was possible to leave a mark in the busiest city in Canada, but the guy did it. So I mean,
Like, you can go to Toronto right now.
Find a
and
skid
just
mark
whisper-
anywhere.
And just whisper, Josh Crazy. on the wind, and someone would be like,
Or just take a deep sniff.
crazy was in this bathroom.
Spin around.
like it's a hunt.
But yeah, and then my
Smell Giorgio Armani and shit.
Giorgio Armani and shit. But yeah, and then eventually we got then myself and Neil started living together for a bit. Went through the ringer of apartments for a bit there, and then Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Still in it.
Let's move on. This is where something.
Yeah. This is yeah.
Those are dark days.
Yeah.
Like our Cape Breton days. Those were your guys' dark days.
Oh yeah, when I had no heat in December and it was minus 16 outside and I could see my breath in my own apartment, I was like, "Yep, this is it."
Man, I actually think back to that and I can't believe it happened. I can't believe that. Like, if we told you the full story, you'd be like, "That's a movie."
Yeah, and then thank God we had a savior. Joe was like, "All right, boys, I'm moving up to Halifax," and I was like, "Bet, all right, we got to find out."
And then we moved out of a shitty apartment into Park Vic.
No, don't diss Park Vic. It was a vibe.
Park Vic was sick, actually.
Park Vic, it was an absolute shithole, and anybody that's from Halifax will know exactly what you mean when you say Park Vic.
I think everyone in Halifax might have stayed in Park
No,
Vic
it's
for
no, it's
short amount
it's
of
a
time.
rite of passage.
It
Like if you want to become a Haligonian, you have to live at least a month in Park Vic. It doesn't have to be like a full year.
Not even spend a night.
No, you gotta get a
spend some time there.
month. You gotta get a month. You gotta see what happens. Like the fire alarm goes off every second day. There's
The elevator breaks down.
all
the
it's
time.
a 22 floor building that has like one elevator working any given day.
I've never been in an apartment building like that though, where I got on the elevator all the time, and it's still to this day. It's the only time I've ever done it. It was full. There's 15 people in it.
Because it's always
Yeah,
been
because we had neighbors that had a 1-bedroom apartment and 15 people living in it. Of course, it's gonna be packed. But then,
bad.
So true. There was like 7 of them.
and then Park Vic was a blast, and we continued to. That's when I got to meet Joe a lot better.
Yeah, that's where we really hit it off.
Yep.
Watch
And
that crane fall there.
That
We
was.
did. The hurricane.
That was honestly.
We got to witness Hurricane Dorian from the 18th floor
And watch-
because the wind was coming from the opposite direction.
Yeah, and
So
we
we
literally
just stood on the patio
literally.
and just watched destruction throughout the
Across the
city.
entire
Oh, yeah.
city.
Oh, we
We're on the
watched-
18th
I remember
floor.
that. Yeah, I was in like Toronto and I was getting like
You probably were getting snaps from us because we were literally just
and there was
standing.
like a crane came down. And I'm
We
like,
called 911.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
we were like one of the first to witness. We watched this crane. Again, anybody from Halifax is gonna know exactly what we're talking about. There's literally the building it fell on is named after.
Yeah,
it's called the
They
crane.
changed the name of the building to name it the crane.
just because it landed on that
must be
building.
a
I
phenomenon.
wonder who had that building already named though, and they like walked out of their meeting 5 months earlier, and they're like right proud of themselves, and it's like now it's called the crane. They're like, damn it, you're fired. But also with that is that the side of the story that is I don't remember sobering up quick enough because like it was a hurricane. We were drinking all day, man. We were on edibles.
I was trying to figure out if it actually happened because I was just cooked. But that was a good time. Like living on Park, so like I said, I got to know Joe a lot better. And then at that time, Josh was living in Toronto. And over time, well, Josh, like I mean, you love Toronto for sure. And you definitely got what you wanted out of that city.
Yeah. No, it was a great time, great experience, but it was
It was time.
It was time to go. You were there
It's time
for
to go.
the amount of time you wanted to be there, and you're like, okay, now I'm good.
yeah. Now it's time to go.
Yeah.
It's time
Absolutely.
to,
How many years were you there?
3.5.
That is enough though. I mean, and you were right downtown. That apartment you had though, where that like could look at the sea entire, that was cool. I was like, how many months were you there for?
Real shitty building, though.
Yeah, but cool view.
Super cool view.
I was only there for a week when I was up there. I didn't live there.
Yeah, no, super cool view. I was on like the 56th floor. Awful building.
56th.
Oh, dude, I was living higher than any building in Halifax. Like I was living.
And that was still mid building.
I was mid building. That building went up to like 77 floors. It was insane. But
Well, if you're thinking about building anything, you can check out RenoWorks. Halifax RenoWorks, where your visions become a reality. You can work with their experts to turn your renovations into something that you couldn't even imagine. Are you sick and tired of going over to your buddy's house and seeing his nice deck. And even though you've trimmed the bushes around your deck to make your deck look bigger, but your wife still can't stop talking about your friend's deck, well, it's time. It's time for an upgrade. Log on to Halifax, HalifaxRenoWorX, or pop onto our sponsors page and get a quote.
But yeah, no, in the end, Toronto was a sick vibe. But it was time to come home. Not saying that home will be here forever, but yeah, it was just time to get into Toronto.
No, absolutely not. Geographically, this is the worst place ever to be a golf professional.
Honestly, yeah. So it was time to leave there. Loved it there, and it is what it is. And now we're here now.
And now we're here. Now
we're here now.
Because you left Toronto and you went pretty well right to
Glen Harbor, didn't you?
I left Toronto. Actually, I left Toronto and then I went south.
Yes.
You were south for
Well,
like 2
which
months.
we will hear lots of
Yeah,
and
hear
further.
lots of other stories.
Yeah, you went on an absolute heater through all of the states, basically.
Yeah.
and-
Was planning to go back to Toronto.
Hmm.
Kind of in the back of my head, I was like, I'm not going there, but I'm not going back. But
You didn't really have any
Ended up-
options at that point. Like,
yeah, I was kind of just like, fuck, I don't really know. And then opportunity opened up here, and I stayed.
yeah.
And we're happy to have you back.
So happy to be here.
It's really bad on our noses, but good for our hearts.
That was way nicer than saying stuff about me earlier.
Hey, you're a good guy sometimes.
Yeah, I hear that.
Everyone's just gonna think I've got like the worst hygiene. Like, I was gonna be like,
No, you actually smell really good all the time, except for when you're
was gonna say,
shitting.
I'm like
But
a
you're
col-
shitting constantly.
I know that's the worst problem. It's like I'm like a cologne head. You know, how you get like sneaker heads and shit. I'm a
Yeah.
cologne head.
Yeah.
Yeah, you always just steal mine.
Yeah, I did. I'm like, man, I like this one. So I just,
You know what? I gotta give it to him. Ryan does have good cologne.
Ryan does.
He does.
Ryan has good products.
I always have a good.
You know what though?
collection.
You've always had that side though, where you were like, I'm gonna pay this extra little bit of money for good product because I care about my shit, and then I'm just like, you're an idiot. I'm gonna use soap everywhere for years.
Oh, sorry about that.
What are you chucking stuff at him?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
And then, so then you got back here in Halifax, and then we all kind of parted ways from North Street. Ripped that place. Shout out to Wendy.
Yeah, then we lived together. We never really got into that.
Oh, yeah,
whole,
yeah.
like,
I
we
guess-
we lived at Park Vic, and
Yeah.
then we moved into North Street, and then we all went our separate ways.
Well, yeah, North Street was another good time, good chapter there,
North Street
really.
was good. North Street was actually a good place.
Except-
Turns out that the landlord
And the lady that lived below us.
got a bit hard on the head at the end, but
Yeah.
apart from that, it was a good time.
That was interesting. I think the one I'm getting up there. I'm getting pretty close, but out of and I counted this year from when I moved out when I just turned 18 until this year, I've lived in I think 16 different locations. Personally,
crazy.
it's a pretty wild stat actually because everywhere I've been, I've spent either 6 months, 8 months, 1 year. I've never spent more than a year somewhere in my entire life actually living in one place other than my parents. But that was 18 years, and then they actually told me I wasn't allowed to go to university in the town that I was from. They're like, "You're going to go elsewhere because you're not going to St. FX."
Yeah, because Kathy and
That's
Eddie
good, though,
had
'cause-
enough of your shit.
Oh, they were
Well,
like,
not
"You're
even that,
leaving."
university's great. Don't get me wrong, but it's so expensive.
Well, it's not only, it's, I
You
mean,
you don't get as much out of it anymore as you used to.
well, I mean, like, I think it's more or less
That's
also.
a topic for discussion.
But like I think it's just the fact of getting out of town is
Yeah, I
itself.
think
I think
town.
it doesn't matter even if you went away somewhere else for school. I think just the fact of staying in your town, you're not going to get anything out of it.
No,
It's-
you're gonna see the same people
it's
that you grew up with.
I mean, and if you didn't leave your town, we wouldn't be sitting around this table right now. So
It's very true.
I
But
mean-
also with that, so like that's what I was gonna get into, saying like, man, at this point, like I could probably write a book with the stories that we have together. But that one on Horse Street, man, like the neighbors that the people that I've lived around with Joe has been outrageous.
To this day, I still believe that we were paying for someone else's power at that.
Oh,
place.
100%. No, there's no
I don't know
doubt.
who else, but we were definitely paying.
We were paying for
Yeah,
someone's power,
someone's
for sure.
power.
Because
And
we even confirmed that house, first of all, had 4 units in it. It was a 2-story house. and there was 3 meters. So
Yeah, and then the one time when he came and he was like, we had a power bill of like hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and you're just like,
$800?
no, you're like I couldn't use as much power if I tried. Like they're like, no, that's your last 2 months or whatever like that, and you're like, no, you're like I can't actually use, like I could have everything on and running and heat and everything, and it can't cost that much. So someone in that unit definitely knew that we were paying for their power and was just cozy all winter long while we just raked their power
But
in.
we also didn't have to pay for a power bill at Park Vic because our apartment was constantly boiling hot because the people below us had the heat on at 35 every day. And then we had the sun coming in our windows on the 18th floor throughout the day.
Park Vic in the summertime was hell on earth,
Oh,
especially in my bedroom because I was on the sun rising and my whole wall was windows.
Yeah, you were like a bug under the
Yeah,
bed.
when we first got there in the winter, I was like, "Oh, this is sick! Look at this little view right out to the ocean. Gonna watch the sunrise in the
It actually
morning."
was a sick view.
I was gonna say you chose the room.
Oh, I did. I picked it right away, and then it hit July, and I was like, "What the fuck am I doing right now?" And then yeah, we all lived in North Street, we all parted our ways, and then
Well, then Josh coming back, actually, we had conversations before you even got back about this. Because you were coming back, and Joe and I were talking about starting something and getting together and trying to proactively kind of think about our futures a bit. But, like, we really do believe in kind of what we're doing, which is, like, a little bit of online coaching and the content stuff. And you see that out there all the time. But the online coaching sort of stuff is, like, the biggest part is the personalities, and I seen that in you first, and then having the conversation with you guys too is what has kind of created all of this. And I know that was when you were moving home and you have the job now, it's like you were excited to get into something like this is because one, it's the boys and we can have fun doing it, but also over the course of the last year we've built something to a point where this hasn't been something that we're just like throwing together. It's like this has been ongoing for over a year now, 12, 13 months, and it's something that's a little bit different than that's out there, is like the online coaching side of stuff.
It's different, but it's very popular at other places in the world, and it hasn't caught on yet around here.
Yeah, which surprises me a bit.
I know.
Because of the winters that we have. Because we're about 7 outside, 5 inside, which is our golf season, and it's surprising that a lot of places haven't really taken on something like this. But the main part of being able to do stuff online and like on the web is so you can give access to more than the people that you're around. You're not trying to just give access to the people that you walk by every day. Reaching people because we know how fucking hard this game is because we want to help everyone just get a little bit better because we have so much experience, right?
We also just want to have fun doing it.
And have a blast doing it, which is exactly why we've put this team together for either living together, shitting together.
We're a team.
Yeah.
We're a team.
Men who golf together, shit together.
Yeah.
I don't want to shit where Josh is.
No, not even close.
You might get something.
Just something.
We're not identified yet. Yeah.
No.
I'm not actually quite sure what I have.
You're really kind of coming out on the shit end of the stick here.
Oh.
Come on. How long were you holding that one in for?
That's what she asked Josh.
Just stop the madness.
Come on, man. Bro.
Really not enjoying this.
This is funny.
Takes another sip of his Joe.
Oh, man.
But yeah, then that is pretty well how the crew became the crew, and I don't know. It's crazy to see. I don't know where this is going to be heading towards, but I'm expecting good things, and
I'm excited.
We got a lot of good videos that we've taken already through the summer with a lot of good laughs. Good.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
fun.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
You're gonna see a lot of
You're going to
shit.
learn a lot, and you're going to have a lot of fun.
That's the important part, too, is
You're
that
being fucking stitches and some of this when we get into it. Once it, like,
Oh, it's gonna go everywhere from seeing the shittiest golf shots you'll ever see from a professional to learning your.
That's a big word to say, professional, for us.
I am a PGA of Canada. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm deactivated right now, so I can't even say that.
So
We're not. Yeah, we go. Yeah, sorry. Semi not pros at the moment. Pros, but
That'll be sorted.
I fucking Glen Harbor gave me my dues money and I took it and I bought a flight to Toronto. And then I looked and I was short 2 credits, so I'm now inactive.
Oh my god.
G-Pod Golf. The first step in making your game just a little bit better. You can log on to gpodgolf.com. That's gpodgolf.com to see what they have in store for you. If you're sick and tired of lugging that tripod around the golf course, or if you're someone who hasn't even partaken in videoing yourself on the golf course yet, or if you're not working online with one of our BunkerHouse Golf coaches, which you should be, you can log on and use BunkerHouse, capitals BunkerHouse, to get 15% off your order.
this is gonna be a journey, and I hope some people tag along for it because it's gonna be a lot of laughs, a lot of sloppiness, and some great also way for you guys to get fun side of things, but also learn about golf itself. So,
Well, it's bringing the fun to the actual coaching is what that's the niche that we're
That's what you
targeting.
need, because how many times in golf do people play it and then stop when they're young because they don't think it's fun? It needs to be fun. So that's what we're here to do.
yeah,
make it fun.
we're here to make golf fun again.
Yeah.
Mark it on the hat. It's coming out.
Put it on a fucking t-shirt right now.
It's fun.
Because, and I mean,
Make golf fun again.
and it's also to give it's also to give you guys the chance to understand that the stereotypes you think of golf are just kind of not there as much as you might believe they are there.
Yeah, they might have been there in the past, but they're not there now.
No, golf
No, you
is.
see it with everything, even on the PJ Tour. Like,
Oh, yeah,
where you-
boys are-
how great was the match where you saw like JT and Jordan like going in their carts, like an open beer in their cart.
Well,
playing the
yeah,
match
and
on
like,
PJ.
and that's the thing, and people are starting to see it because golf is in a boom right now. It has been since the start of COVID. Who would have known that COVID literally
saved golf.
it saved
Well, it didn't
golf?
save
No,
it.
it saved.
Re-energized
It
golf.
didn't save golf, but it saved the golf industry in the sense of like guys like ourselves, because it was on a massive decline. People weren't getting members. Courses were struggling. Like courses starting to shut down. They couldn't get memberships. They couldn't get people to come in, and then COVID happened, and then they're like, people are like, oh shit.
turning people away.
Well, yeah, like myself here at Oakville, we got a wait list of 250 plus, and that's what golf ended up doing over COVID. Because if you wanted to go out and have some beers with the boys, or you wanted to go have some beers and shoot the shit and laugh, when COVID started loosening the restrictions, the first place you could do that at was a golf course.
A golf range, actually. The range just opened early because you know what is apparently starting the COVID was during that 2020 when that happened. 2019 when that whole debacle happened. Is the craziest part was that at the first of it you couldn't touch anything, right? Like when the big thing came out, like we were, and I remember specifically because it was all hands on deck. Work started early for us too because we were the workers. So like everyone all of a sudden found out that it was like, oh shit,
Everything
we
shut
can go
down.
outside and we can go to a golf range, and people picked it up.
Yeah, and that was the worst part about it, because I sat in the house with your ass and your ass. You're fine, Joe, but Neil was getting on my nerves, and then I had to go to work with the guy.
Yeah, but
we like them, we swear.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
swear we like him. I mean, you're going to get all that through the whole podcast
Yeah.
the whole time. You're going to start to realize that, well, Neil gets a little bullied.
yeah, I don't go home and cry that
Well,
often.
Neil gets bullied, and so does Gracie a little bit.
Yeah. I zone off though. So.
You gotta hold.
I zone off though. I was rubbing my eye with something really itching. Must have scratched my ass.
But with that, so we get to the ranges because now all of a sudden the golf courses have opened up. Not the golf courses, the ranges, and everything has to be sanitized. I remember spraying because it's all hands on, like I said before, it's all hands on deck. We were back to working before we were back to hitting golf holes. You know, the enjoyment was everyone else's, but also we were back to getting paychecks and stuff. But I remember specifically like putting down a pyramid of balls and just spraying the fucking nozzle just over them all.
That's fucked up. That's
what it was.
That's literally what it was. I remember doing that, and it was
What
every
fucking club
and
were
it
you
was,
guys at?
it was
COVID.
clockwork because it was like after that person was done those balls, you threw away everything they used. It was no good anymore. Like it was just done. And then you redid a pyramid and you stood there and sprayed. And you're like, all right, Billy, you're good. Your stall's all ready for you here. Come have some fun.
And the stalls were like 10 feet apart.
Nah, they were like 20.
You had 15 minutes in between each person to sanitize it.
Yeah. It was scheduled into it, too.
But that was our job in 2019.
Was it 2019? It was 2019.
No, it was in 2020 by the time that
2020?
happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
COVID had started in 2019. Went through
really
lockdown was in the spring,
yeah.
and then we opened because then it was limbo for the longest because it's like, all right, our golf course is opening. Are we gonna do this? Is this happening? And then all of a sudden it's like, all right, golf is a go. Some people weren't happy about it, others were, and then that's how people started falling in love with the game of golf. So
Yeah, I mean, it was super cool to see golf get cool though. Like, and that's a part that I really like is because I believe in is the cool side of golf is actually like what a lot of our friends who just assume that like, oh, they're golf pros or they're golfers or they play professionally or whatever like that, like those guys are golf guys. It's like no, like we have an afternoon tea time on a Saturday. And we load up the cart with beer. We grab some cigs and some whatever else we can get our hands on, a couple stogies. And we go out there for 4.5 hours, 5 hours, and we have a
Never had a stogie at a golf course.
Well, I've had a stogie, so keep the story going now.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, but so then you're sitting there and you're having a good time over and over again, and we're like, why don't people like this? Why don't people love this? Well, one is because it's so fucking hard. That's also the other side of it. That's why we coach. But the other side is that when we're getting it and we're going out there and having a blast.
Throw on your favorite tunes.
yeah. That's it. Yeah.
I honestly, I hate playing golf
Without music.
I can't do it anymore.
No. I'm literally like,
And I
if it's
mean-
not on before we tee off as we're doing our like 15-second stretch. If it's not
Where
on
everybody
there,
looks like they're stretching, but they're just like, just.
literally, and it's like if it's not, it's like as soon as we're like heading, like soon as we tee off, I'm like, okay, tunes. Like we need tunes,
When someone doesn't have a speaker, it's actually devastating.
big time.
Well, just, yeah, I mean, and then a lot of people don't understand that, though. They're like, oh, golf course, like, shh, don't say anything. It's a golf course. Don't say anything.
He's hitting.
You gotta be quiet. And don't get me wrong, there's times that you have to be quiet, but music is a constant noise. That's the thing that people don't understand. What actually fucks up people is...
Hey, yo, fuck you, Tim!
is exactly that. It's not the constant noise. Like if I'm teeing off and I got like Skrillex in the background and I'm like it's not going to affect me because it's like that's something that's consistently like that noise is already moving through my head. But if Joe all of a sudden screeches out to the cart girl well, prime example. That's a prime example right there. And that's what people have to start to understand is like you can take your speaker out on the golf course, and there's actually like Bushnell, they have a rangefinder that is a speaker, and
Great.
Well, you just
Great
see it
invention.
with everything. You see all these companies coming out with more products that are like fun like that. That are leaning towards more fun.
well, because that's what the thing is like that's the market we're in right now with golf. It's like, okay, we got a lot of new golfers here. How the hell do we keep them?
Yeah.
And that's what people are trying to do is they're coming up with ways. It's like, all right, golf's fun, guys. You can go out there and get absolutely shittered and then finish your round and then go get shittered in the bar. Like it doesn't like.
And then drive home. Oh, just kidding. Dark turn. Never mind. Nobody drive.
Do not. It should be obvious. Do not drink and drive.
Oh God.
I'm just kidding. unless you live in a small town.
Like our fathers and our like even like the golfing like 30, 40 years ago, it's like you'd spend the night at the whole club, like the missus knew you were at the club on like the men's nights, and they were loose. What has happened to that side of golf that was so fun, right? The stories that like, man, some of the older guys who are members were like, man, this club used to be like bopping. So there was a phase years ago that golf like had a huge incline, and then it kind of plateaued, came down, and then we found ourselves before COVID, and then we're back at it. We're back at this like the fun is.
But the
here
one
again.
thing I will say is like that is still the thing that is missing. Like I work at a member club, and like it's not that it's not bopping, but it's not like there's still a lot of that. Finish round of golf, go to the car, see you later.
When I was playing with Joe in men's nights, I was well, my father was the professional, so when I was like 15 and 16, I was like competing in the men's nights, which was cool because they allowed me to do it. I couldn't like get the prizes or like drink and stuff like that, but like I could compete in the men's nights. They were awesome. That was 10 years ago, even like just before it, they were so cool. Like you were hanging out, everyone was on the deck, there was 30, 40 people around. It was like a whole evening. Like people didn't want to leave. I actually felt like as the night went on, people who actually might have even golfed earlier would even come up for a drink to the club. Like go to the club for a drink in the evening and have like an awesome time. There'd be like the odd person be playing music and stuff like that. I feel like now it's like men's nights, you're kind of nailed it. It's
well,
like,
I mean, and that's where I think like where we're at now with golf, and like I'm just saying, like to you guys that are new to clubs, like start hanging out at your club, like just
Come on, guys, hate your wives again.
But like it's not even just the guys though. It's if you're going out with a group of friends, like instead of rushing from the course,
Rushing from the course, have a few pints, and then drive home. No, I'm sorry. I'm throwing this whole thing for a loop, but I totally agree with what you're saying. Hang out at the club more. Obviously.
do not drink and
Do
drive.
not drink and drive.
Do not drink.
Do not drink and drive.
we have to put like a Mad Canada thing up here just to like make sure that's known. Like with a little
This
decal.
video is sponsored by Mad
We worry about that Josh guy on BunkerHouse podcast.
But what it's all about bringing that fun side, that side that's missing, that seems to really be, and I love this, is I wish it could be a little bit more in golf, as I know golf is 72 holes for a classic tournament, it's on TV, people shake hands, they have the quiet
Golf should
golf
be 12
clap.
holes.
It should be like fucking 12 holes.
12
Yeah,
holes.
it should be 12 holes. But what it is there's not that many celebrations. When I watch football, there's a first down and then a dance. And I'm like, that's entertainment. Not to maybe that extent in golf, but it doesn't have to be that serious.
Well, I mean, the one thing I notice it with watching golf right now, but the one thing that Tiger brings when he plays is that excitement.
Yeah.
You don't see guys hit a putt and go, like, just lose their emotions on the green. It's like they like hit a bird.
And whenever it does happen, everyone talks about it because it's great to see.
Exactly. But like, that's the thing. It's like when Tiger, that happened like 5 times in a round. Where now it's like you'll get that maybe once in a tournament. Whereas I think that's where the watching of golf needs to get more fun again. It's like it's like you said when they did that match of Tiger and JT and the boys. Like they were showing emotion out there. You had Tiger putting his cart in reverse while JT's trying to hit his golf
so
shot.
funny.
It was hilarious. Just a classic move to do. But like that's the stuff that's missing. It's like they gotta get away because like they all talk about it on tour. They're like, I have to get in my mind space, and I understand that. It makes sense. Like I haven't figured out how to get into my mind space. I have to take mushrooms just to figure that out. But like
it's true. Yeah, it's true.
It's true. I need mushrooms too.
I thought I was the only one.
but like, and I mean but like when you go out with your buddies, have that fun on the course. Have that fun. Like get a little excited when you chip in for your double bogey. Like that's all right.
And also remember that
Wish I could still do that.
if you're not at a tournament high amateur professional level, always remember that you're only playing this game for the fun of it.
I think every tournament should be like a 2-man scramble.
Oh,
Because how
yeah.
many times in 2-man scrambles do you get fired up
Oh,
after like someone like
because
makes
you
a putt?
feed off your
Oh,
partner's
yeah.
energy.
So good.
Oh yeah.
Because you're shitting yourself. You're like, oh, okay, Neil, fucking make this putt 'cause I don't want to have to deal with it. And then he makes it. And you're like, yeah, woo! Yeah, like, no, I don't got it.
Ass slaps.
Hey, this putt right now is also worth $300.
Yeah, no, you said 5. Thank you very much. That was not. You did not say $300. You said $500.
Flipped out, didn't he?
No, that was a good story though. Is Joe and I play most of our partner events, and we played 2 years prior, and we won both of them. And then Joe couldn't play 1 year. Just
Funny
Humble
enough,
brag.
funny enough, he was
Humble brag.
funny enough he was inactive.
yeah, funny enough, Joe was inactive, so he couldn't play. And then Ryan was just like, "I'll play," and I was like,
That was,
"Fuck,
and that was,
all right."
that was my
So-
that was my first year in the PGA too.
Yeah, but this was also a good opportunity for myself, who's been in the PGA for 4 or 5 years, to take you and be like, hey, here's an event, we're gonna have fun, stuff like this. But anyways, we actually played really, really well the whole time. And I just remember in the last holes, because I just had the updated leaderboard, and I was just like, we had like a 10-footer down the hill, and I just missed it. I just looked at him and I was like, yeah, it's probably like $500 putt, by the way. He was just like, what the fuck did you just say to me? And he stands up, he misses it, he doesn't talk to me for like, we shake hands just like this, and then he gets in the car and he goes, why'd you tell me that? Like he's upset. Like he's like, why would you tell me
I
that?
think he still finished like 5th in the event. Yeah, like we still made money. Like it wasn't even.
But it was
Didn't win.
no, but we didn't win.
I mean,
Hot dogs all week. Don't tell me that we missed $500.
no, it was more like, hey Neil, I need that $500 for that rent that I gotta give you at the end of this month.
That's happened before with me and Neil in a tournament. He says, if we don't win this tournament, I can't go to nationals.
That's a really good story too.
It's a great story because then you played lights out and I
But
shit
again,
the bed. I hit some good shots.
These
coming
are
back.
all going to be great stories to get into, and I
Yeah.
mean that's going to be the further thing moving in with the
Yep.
podcast itself. You're going to get to know us on a better level, know a lot of our good stories. I mean, we have everything. We have Josh who went across the States and the Bahamas.
Just shitting himself.
yeah, he's just
entire
shitting
time.
himself. And
People
then
think that you shit all the time.
yeah.
What a great intro. What a great intro for everybody. Again, this guy's hygiene's terrible. This guy's like shits while he walks. This guy's got LBS, leaky butthole syndrome.
And then, but I mean, you're gonna get that, but you're also gonna get the teaching side aspect of it. So, like again, where it all comes back to that topic of making golf fun, and also learning a little at the same time.
Yeah, I love it. It's just understanding that we're just trying to put the fun back in the game, but also use a professional side to get you a little better as well. But you can
Because
hop
we are
on.
professionals.
Yes, at the end of the
We
day,
might be inactive, but we are professionals.
at the end of the day, we can show you how to put the ball on the hole just in a few less strokes and maybe just a couple less broken clubs. But you can log on, you can see all their stuff, pop on the website, you can see what we have to offer, and always hit up our sponsors page. We can't thank them enough. It's really important to us that you do pop on there and support any way possible. But who we are looking to partner with and who we are trying to get in this community is a bunch of people who want to enjoy the game, but also grow a bit with it. That's super important to us. And also, I know that we're going to talk about Josh's leaky asshole syndrome a little less in the next episode. Yeah.
Talk about it more.
But with that, Merry Christmas to all, and we'll catch you next time.
And to all a good night.